All right, I'm gonna take this off because it's jingling, jangling, jingling, jangling. Hey guys, please let us know that you can actually hear us. We are actually in Teresa's hotel room and we're on her laptop, and I don't really feel like the internet here is very good.
It's really wobbly. We can look at the picture. It's like,
we can see that like when we move too much, it can't keep up with us. Anyway, the internet here is really bad, and so I'm using like a mobile hotspot on my phone. And so at the very least, perfect. Tracy Thrifts says that she can hear us. So
I know
awesome.
we look a little blurry. Sorry.
Yeah,
that might be helpful actually.
It's like when you're blurry, you have great skin.
Wave. It's right? Like, yeah. It's like what I would imagine an acid trip thing would be like.
Right. Yo, Steve Hill says, yo, Jenna LeDrew, yo. Oh, keeping it beachy. Anyway, we are in Vegas. Obviously, we live here, but we're in the hotel room right now because we're in the middle of the second day of eBay Open. We still wanted to make sure that we did a show for you guys because it is Boss Up and List Day. It's Wednesday, which is our all-day virtual listing party. And we want to make sure that we still got to come and hang out with you guys. So
and we're kind of failing at the listing part today.
Yeah, sorry. we're super
you can
failing.
Forgive us because we're nowhere near our computers to list.
Man, but we are so tired.
Dude, I can't even tell you how tired I am.
Oh, Allison says you two look like you're broadcasting from the moon circa 1960.
See, that's what I was thinking. It was like super old, like we're in a tunnel. I don't know.
Yeah. So visually, I know it's not great. I'm hoping that the audio is clear enough so that you're getting everything
Hopefully
from
it's caught up to the way that I feel like I'm in a Chinese movie right now.
Yeah.
Or Japanese movie.
Whatever. As long as they can hear us okay,
like
I'm happy
my
with
mouth
that.
is not moving at the same rate as the words that are coming out. It's like the dubbed Japanese movies, old horror movies.
Yeah. Story of my life. I don't know what that means. Oh, Alexa says Robin and I are watching from Christine's presentation session. Listen, Alexis.
Pay attention to Christine.
So listen, Alexis, we were going to one giant step for you two. Alexis, we were going to go on location and get Alexis to like to pop in via her phone. But the thing is, like, this thing is so slow. I don't even want to attempt adding anything.
I'm afraid we'll throw everything off.
It might like catch on fire. It'll be horrible. It'll be horrible. It'll be horrible. Anyway, so we were on our second day. It's been like nonstop. We get up early in the morning. Luckily and unluckily, since we're at home, we get to still do our shipping, which it's great because we don't have to put our store on vacation or delay anything. But it kind of sucks because it's like away and then book it on over to the hotel the convention center so that we can get
up
done.
At the crack of dawn and we still can't get out of the house before 9.
Yeah,
it's a little silly.
And we've been talking like nonstop, which has been awesome because we've been able to meet a bunch of really cool people. We've had a lot of access to eBay execs to be able to give them suggestions and stuff. And we got to go to a really great dinner last night for all the Shine finalists as well as Shine alum like myself. And so
I was just the +1.
Yeah, she was.
But it was still fun.
It was really fun. And so we actually sat at the table with. We were sitting right next to. Well, her name is Chris Miller. What is her?
Christine Miller. She is the senior vice president of
chief strategy officer is what she is. So she's all about like looking into the future,
how you implement change, and what kind of changes we need to bring to the site, and to relationships as buyers and sellers. And
yep. So we literally, like, for the most part, I'd say she talked 5% of the time. We talked for like 3 hours straight to her. And, but we got
probably regretting that she was sitting next to us.
Yeah, for sure. But we got to give her lots of suggestions and tell her like the stuff that we like about eBay, the stuff that we don't like, how we would like it to be better.
What kind of things we would like to see changed.
Yeah. Allison says twin beds, ladies, really just like the Flintstones. This is actually Teresa's bed.
Not our room.
They're two queen beds.
Actually, it's not our room.
Yeah,
we live 12 miles away. We didn't need a hotel room for $200.
Yeah, pretty much. But yes, I think the pattern on the wall behind us is pretty awesome. So it's almost like we're calling in from the 70s or something.
Seriously, it's like we've got wood grain paneling and twin beds in back of us and some sketchy internet reception.
Yeah. For sure. But we've got to meet lots of cool people. Like 75% of the people that are here have not been to eBay Open before. So that's like really cool. It's like a totally different, like kind of
crowd from last year.
Different crowd, different feel. Everything is really cool. But what we wanted to talk about today is yesterday and today. Well, every day they have like these general sessions, and the general sessions is when everybody's in one big room and different execs get to go up and talk. And what's really cool about it is that's when they,
Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, there you go. She's got her Diet Pepsi. That's when they like make a lot of announcements about this upcoming features and stuff like that. And so we wanted to kind of share with you guys like some of the stuff that we learned. So yesterday, here's the deal. Yesterday, there were a couple of things they talked about. First of all, they addressed all of the issues. So they had this whole Q&A thing with the CEO, and he was asked all these questions, and he didn't shy away from addressing everything. He talked about the glitches and everything that had happened.
Devin owned it. I mean, they did an unrehearsed Q&A with another seller asking him a bunch of questions and also pulling questions from that post that had been made, I think, on eBay for Business. You could submit a question to ask Devin. So they picked the most popular questions from those submissions, as well as a few that this seller, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, that she had come up with. And it wasn't rehearsed. He didn't know the questions beforehand. Clearly, he's an attorney and he's CEO for a reason. He's very, very well spoken. So he didn't really skip a beat at answering the questions. But he was very open and honest when he said, these glitches are absolutely unacceptable. I was pissed off, was exactly what he said. He said, I was pissed off, and it was addressed.
Yeah.
And basically the girl that was asking the question, she's like, well, we were pissed off too.
Yeah.
So the entire audience kind of erupted in applause when she said that.
Well, and he said that, like, he couldn't talk to us about the inner workings of eBay and how it was dealt with, but he did say that they did have to do some staff changes. They did have to change some departments around. So I'm guessing that probably
some heads rolled.
I'm guessing that probably there, maybe some people either lost their jobs or were changed to different departments. I don't know. Whatever it was that happened, there were things that they did to address it.
Yeah, there were results.
And I think he said something like, you don't, was it? He said, like, you don't deliver a package that isn't ready to be sold or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is you don't roll something out that's not ready to go. And so he was basically saying
he basically said they rushed a rollout on something and it wasn't correct, which is exactly what happened. And, he acknowledged that it was not acceptable and it was not the way they want to do business and certainly not what they expected, obviously. So I appreciate the fact, which is something that we all wanted to hear earlier on, let's just say. But I appreciate the fact that he said, he owned it. It happened. He was pissed off. They're making the changes to fix it. They're putting the safeguards in place that nothing like this happens again with the new rollout, and hope that nothing like this happens again or anything similar to this. So he owned it. I have to say, you can only do so much. You can't go backwards. He can't fix it. He's not the guy that does the tech. But as the guy that employs the guy that made all this mistakes, he said it was addressed.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I have to say, this is just my personal opinion. I really, really like Devin as a speaker. I like listening to him. I really enjoyed him last year. I really enjoyed him so far this year. I think he comes across as extremely genuine, and the way he speaks is very heartfelt. And as I said, I couched it with, maybe it's not genuine. Maybe whether that's real or not, it comes across that way. And perception is everything. Yeah. So he really truly seems to care about the sellers. And he stopped and talked to every seller that was anywhere near him throughout Open, before and after his speeches, and he'll continue to do that for the next couple of days. Yeah. I genuinely think he's a really good guy. I did tell that woman that we sat next to last night, Christine, that sellers need to hear from Devin more. Yeah. I think because he is such a good representative of the brand and says the things that we need to hear from the top, I think he needs to be a little bit more present. Yeah.
And so the other big thing that came out of yesterday, the thing that I was the happiest to hear, so the whole thing around the sales tax and the Supreme Court decision, I think it's a really complicated issue. It's really complex. And, just like anything, there's people who are really scared and people who are worried, like, how is it going to affect your business? Are we coming to a point where at some point we're going to have to collect taxes for up to like some 10,000? What are you pointing at?
I saw a little circle like that was thinking. I thought we might have lost the
Oh, okay. Sorry, I get distracted because she tries to like secretly signal things, but if I don't know what the signal means, then I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Sorry.
Anyway, so there, the worst case scenario is that people think that, there's 10,000 restrictions in the United States. So it's not just states, it's, it's cities, it's counties, it's everything.
Municipalities.
And so, people have this fear that, okay, we're going to at some point be at this point where I am a small seller and suddenly I have to keep track of taxes for 10,000 different jurisdictions. And it's like, that's going to be impossible. It's going to ruin my business, blah, blah, blah. And, my take on that has always been like, if we came to a place where that had to happen, I'm sure
we're still several years away from that actually happening. If it happens.
If something like that ever did happen, I'm sure eBay, they're a big company. They depend on our success as sellers. They're not going to want to lose all these sellers because they can't do this. Of course, they're going to take care of us, but they hadn't said that yet. They hadn't really addressed it super directly. And yesterday, he specifically said, Devin said that, if we were to be at that point, don't worry about it. We are already working on a solution. We are already figuring it out. If it ever came to that, you would have a way through eBay to get help from them, to collect those taxes, to pay those taxes, to do all that stuff that would be manageable for us as sellers. So hearing
basically,
that,
he said, we've got you.
Yeah, yes. So, and they already have people working on it. So that's not to say that they've decided that that's just the way it's going to be. No, but they're getting ready for the potential for that to happen.
They have a team in place that has been working on this for quite a while. It sounded like after another conversation we had later on in the day, that is, creating programs, creating softwares. Maybe they're working with developers. Who knows what the process is in the back end? But this is a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not going to hang their sellers out to dry. And that was basically what he was trying to say. He wanted to make sure that we know that we're going to be taken care of. We don't know what that looks like yet. They don't know what it looks like yet, but they wanted us to know that they are preparing for the eventuality that it may happen, right? Just in case.
And the other thing they're doing is we have a government relations team. They do all the lobby. They're probably, I think they said that they are the biggest presence in DC that is lobbying against this idea of having to pay these sales taxes.
They're working really hard and spending a lot of money trying to support sellers. They could just roll over and take it and say, yeah, we're just going to create a program and then charge the sellers and we'll make more money that way. No, they're fighting it. They're fighting it on our behalf.
And that's part of what our fees that we pay, that's part of what it goes to. And it's really important because, as small sellers, we can't hire lobbyists to go and do this stuff. So eBay does it for us. And so the other piece of that is that they are really fighting. They're hoping that maybe like the federal government would pass some sort of law where it would basically be like a flat tax across the whole United States. So it wouldn't matter. And that would make it much more manageable for us. So that's like one potential thing. But anyway, bottom line is that we were given very clear, concise language that eBay has our backs, that they are working on it. And so no matter what, we need to, if they ask us to sign a petition, if they ask us to call our representatives, we need to be on top of doing that. But we can also be confident that we're going to be okay when it comes to that.
One way or another, they're going to take care of us is basically what he said in a very concise manner that was far fewer words than we just used. Yeah. But it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of relief in hearing that.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear that because, like I said, it's a complicated issue and not everybody understands it, and I don't fully understand it myself. But just knowing, okay, there are people working on this.
Right. I just know that the majority of the sellers that I know, that we know, there's no way in heck I could, remit taxes in 10,000 jurisdictions. I couldn't, and I don't personally know any sellers that could. So
yes.
And yes, Allison, Big Drift Thrift, Amazon is already collecting taxes from the buyers. That's absolutely true.
But their fees are way higher.
Their fees are somewhere around 40% instead of 8 to 10% for one thing. The second thing is that Amazon does not sell anything directly.
eBay doesn't sell anything.
eBay doesn't sell anything directly.
Amazon
does. So eBay is just a vehicle. It is just a platform. eBay doesn't warehouse things, does not sell things directly. Yet, maybe they will. Who knows? I know that's been discussed many times over the years. But right now they don't. So there's a big difference about that. So,
all right. So let's get into, so that was yesterday. Now today, there's a couple of important things we want to share with you. And then there's some really super exciting stuff about upcoming features to the site. So first I want to talk about, let's talk about payments. Sort of. I want to talk about payments first. It's okay. So payments, we've all been hearing about the future of payments, how eBay is going to be basically taking it over, which my whole take on it is that the destination that we're headed towards with payments, I'm actually really excited about.
Yeah.
Because check this out, rather than having, go to PayPal to pay, and having
and leave the site
and having a separate party that has all these payments and it never really reconciles with eBay completely, and you have two different places that that buyers can open cases. Like there's a lot of issues around it. So it's going to be all done on site through eBay. Fees will be lower than they are by just doing it through eBay and PayPal.
Right now you're doing a 3% transaction fee on,
plus like 30 cents, right?
Yeah, plus 30 cents per transaction. And then if you have conversion fees, sometimes if you sell on another site, not frequently, but it does happen. So it's going to be cheaper. He mentioned it will be cheaper many times.
It'll be simpler for bookkeeping.
Simpler for bookkeeping because all of your reports and all of your information will be right there on one site on your seller hub. There'll be a payment hub.
Yeah.
They did show us a little mock-up of that, but it was pretty small. So I got to tell you, I'm a little old and blind. I couldn't see all the details on the big screen. But the other, a couple of other really good
they're adding, people will be able to use Apple Pay. Okay, so like what, 50% of smartphones, people are using Apple phones and iPhones. So Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung. So basically, it's going to be simpler. We're going to save money, and there's going to be so many more ways for people to pay. PayPal's been around a long time, and a lot of people use PayPal. PayPal will still be an option.
PayPal will be an option. It's going to be,
and so it's more people are going to be able to buy from you, and so that is a great thing. So first of all, that's the very first thing I want to say is I'm actually super excited about the new way that they're going to be doing payments.
The name of the company is called Aiden. Which you may or may not have seen floating around. It's AYDEN, I believe. And it's not that Aiden is replacing PayPal. It's Aiden is a payment processing company that will be facilitating many different payment options, is what it sounds like to me. So again, none of us know 100% of the details, but what we do know, we're trying to share with you. So they did share a little bit more with us. It's been kind of vague what's been out there.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that they're not sharing with us. They're sorry.
Clarify.
Okay, hold on. Yes, I went and clarified it. Here's something that they're not sharing. And I kind of feel like I've said to them, I wish you guys would be sharing this more publicly. Now they're not hiding this information. This is pertaining to the beta program where they're rolling it out. They're going to be starting in September. It's not that they're hiding it. It's just I don't know why they're doing this. But anyway, the beta program that people have been talking about, if you want to test it out starting fourth quarter, which
is only 5% of, it's only going to be offered to 5% of eBay sellers.
Yeah, so a small number. So if you know anything about a beta program, it's basically an opportunity for them to test a new program out, right? So it needs to be super limited. So here's the thing. When they're telling you, hey, go sign up to do the beta program, here's what they're not telling you right now. They're telling people directly. They're not telling people when they're talking about it openly.
Correct.
If you're in the beta program, you will not be able to take PayPal at all. Okay, so it's only going to be credit cards, no PayPal. If you are in the beta program, you will not be able to do any international shipping, any international sales, whether it's through the Global Shipping Program, GSP, or you do your own direct international shipping. So if you are somebody who sells a lot internationally, you are not—
or anything international, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, well, it depends. But you are not a good fit for being in the beta program. So
for this portion of the beta program.
Yes, the beta program right now, starting out, it's super limited, and it makes sense because they have to test things. So they aren't ready to take on currency conversion right now. So basically, they're only going to be accepting credit card payments from U.S. buyers. They have to have a U.S. address. So there are a lot of sellers out there who only sell domestically. So that's totally fine. So they are the right fit for doing the beta program. I do about 20% of my business is international sales, revenue wise.
I did $17,000 last year international.
Yeah,
I'm not giving that up for any kind of beta program.
In the last year, I did 20,000. So it's just not the right fit for me. I am going to wait until we're ready to add more features. But the very initial part of it is going to be for a very specific amount of sellers. They've been sending invitations out specifically to people who have under 5%.
Fit their certain filter.
Yeah.
So if and then they may clarify with you on the phone once, because it is a process to opt into this particular beta program, because it is there's a lot of changes that have to do with it. So one of the things, no one can automatically opt into this. So you have to worry about that. And if you've expressed interest in it, they will call you and clarify if you fit within the program.
They're not putting,
and then you can make a choice.
They're not putting anyone in the program that they haven't talked to one-on-one. So you will know exactly what you're signing up for.
Correct.
I just don't want, they've been putting it out there to the broad audience of like, hey, sign up for the beta. Hey, sign up for the beta.
And some people are like, I got a phone call and I didn't. And
and they're doing it here too. They've mentioned it twice in 2 different general sessions. They've been like, hey, go and sign up for the beta. And I'm like, well, why don't you say but there's no international, no PayPal. So if you're not a good fit for it, don't bother spending time going to the booth.
Right.
But whatever. So we're just giving you that information.
They are telling you that once you're there. It's
Yes,
just, I think they're just trying to be very broad with it, and it would probably behoove them to add a few extra little caveats to whether you're going to, you're going to fit in that 5% initial rollout. Now they're going to be doing several rollouts. This is not going to be a finalized process until somewhere in fourth quarter in 2020. So this is a 2-year-long process. They're going to be rolling it out in stages.
Right.
So obviously there are going to be lots of different things coming out and more information coming forward. They also obviously do not have 100% of the answers that some people are asking, because that's the whole point. It's a beta program. They're starting it out. They're testing it out. The first people that are involved in the test that are already in and that have been using it are eBay employees. eBay employees that also sell on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
They actually showed us a screen of someone that is selling on eBay that is an employee that is already using this program and is in the beta test. So it's a pretty interesting. I think it's interesting. I think the end result for it looks fantastic.
I'm super excited.
I am too. I took a couple of screenshots that I just can't, because of the way our setup is a little bit weird today. I can't share with you yet, but I will when I get home and send some pictures. But I took a couple of screenshots of the presentation that they were giving to us, where they were showing it what it would look like on a mobile device. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to be direct purchase to payment without leaving a screen, without having to sign into something different. And you'll have these little buttons on the bottom. They're going to be, Apple Pay Direct, Google Pay Direct.
Yeah.
I think Facebook Pay Direct.
It's going to be super cool.
So I think whatever you have, people are going to, whatever you use as a payment type or whatever your buyer uses, this is just one more way for them to capture more millennial buyers. Yeah. Millennial buyers are using almost 100% cell phone technology to purchase everything.
Yes. And so bottom line is, I'm super excited about the end result. I'm going to sit back right now, let some other sellers beta test it that are better fit. I'm also going to enjoy a fourth quarter where there's going to be some sellers who are no longer going to be doing international sales, and maybe that'll bring a little more our way. I don't know. How will you be paid? If you do Etsy or anything like that, it's pretty simple. It's like basically
it's attached to your checking account or bank account.
You're not going to get paid immediately like you do with PayPal, but honestly, like, it's fine. It'll be like a couple of days delayed. It'll go into your bank account. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
And you can also schedule deposits to be done, I think, every 2 days or every other day. If you're selling on Etsy now, Etsy already uses Aiden as their payment platform.
And if you do daily sales, you're not even going to notice that you're going to always have deposits going in. So it's like, that's not that big of a deal.
And I'm sure that they'll come out with some way to have some sort of card for that, as just in the same way PayPal does, as far as a debit transaction. You can have a different account. Who knows? But I'm sure that it's going to exist. They would be silly to not capitalize on that as a market. So
all right. So, and also I believe some of the people, if you are interested in doing the beta and you don't really do a lot of international, or you don't do international at all, I do think that they are offering incentives to some of the people who are doing beta. Like they're getting like a higher, I heard someone was offered like 25% off their final value fee. So they're doing some things to compensate sellers that are choosing to do that. Again, not the right fit for me, but I think that's super cool.
And Desiree, even if they don't have a card, if it's going to be linked directly to your bank account, you have your bank card. It's just going to be the same way. So it may behoove you at a certain point to open up a separate account for your business.
Yeah.
I think that might be where I'm leaning if it's not.
It's going to be,
because I generally keep my personal funds separate from my PayPal funds, and I transfer as needed, whatever. People have different ways of doing their bills, so I use my cards separately. And I don't like to have it all lumped in. So I may, I may opt to do a separate account specifically for that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the fun stuff, guys. There's some really fun stuff. So she was talking about millennials. They are, they're talking about how millennials now are like 40%.
60%.
No, they're 40% right now. I don't believe you. 40% of the buying power.
No, Z is 40% within
2 years.
Generation Z is 40% within 2 years. Right now, millennials are.
Anyway, they got lots of money. They got lots of money. Anyway, so they're very focused on getting millennials, and then Z generation coming up is going to be super important. And they are all mobile based. The way that they shop is very different. And so they're working on making it a better buyer experience, making it faster. Like they had different things like now
fun and colorful, and creating collections in the way that old eBay collections were crap. That was stupid. But the way that you're able to just the way that you're able to visualize and personalize your app, your buyer app, your buyer experience.
Yep. And upcoming stuff like making the checkout process a lot faster. Whereas like right now, if you go to checkout or if you go to buy something, you have to like either register or sign in. You have to go through this big process. And coming up within the next, I think, few months or the next year or whatever, it's going to be shifting over to where you go and you buy, and they basically collect the information along the way, like because you're going to put in your shipping address, and most likely that's like also your address, your regular address. And so they kind of demonstrated how quickly they would be able to go through the purchasing
Like
process.
you'll be looking at something on your phone and you'll click buy it now, and then you can hit continue using Facebook. So you'd have all of your Facebook information. Like I'm sure as someone has done this at one point or another, you continue using your Facebook ID, continue using Google ID or whatever it may be. It just,
they're trying to make it a lot faster and more intuitive and very social friendly. Okay, so here's one thing. So product-based shopping. So you know how they've been kind of shifting over to product-based listings. And so what we mean by that is particularly, let's say like electronics. When you are, let's say you're selling a GoPro 4, I don't even know if there's a GoPro 4, but whatever, a GoPro 4, if you're selling it, you have to put in like the exact like model number, and then when it gets listed, there's a product page. Instead of having like
specs.
Instead of having like a list of just all these listings, like a million listings, they get grouped into product pages. GoPro 4s are on one product page, and it'll say like best price, best new price, best used price. And you know, like they'll be like the almost like the buy box, basically, you know, like our recommended price or whatever. And then you click on those, and then it depends on whichever one you pick. So for some people, it's a little bit scary because they're like, my listing isn't necessarily going to be seen. Does it make you want to have like the lowest price, whatever? It's a little scary. But here's the thing, guys, product-based offers. So somebody goes,
this was cool.
So let's say somebody goes and they see a VCR that Vicki has listed, and she has it listed for $100. And this is the way it is right now. They might go, if she has best offer, they'll click on best offer and they'll say, I want to offer you 90. And then she gets to decide, am I going to accept 90 or not? Right. So that is on her specific listing. They're making an offer. Well, what product-based offers are, so they go to that products page for like the GoPro 4, and let's say the price of the recommended price or whatever, let's say it's $155, right? So it's $155. Well, a person can click on, it'll be like, you know, product offer or whatever. They'll click on the button and they'll say, I'm willing to pay $140. They are not making that offer to any specific seller. They're just saying, I'm willing to pay $140 for this product new. And so what will happen is,
has anyone ever used Priceline? This is what it reminds
kind of like
me
that?
of. This is like how Priceline used to be able to say, okay, I want a 2 to 3 star hotel based in this zip code on these particular days, and this is how much I want to pay.
Yeah.
And it will give you the item, and you automatically have to accept it at that price, but you don't always know what it is till the end. That's the difference. But this you do know what you're.
So you're a seller and you have listed a GoPro 4 that's a new condition. You will get a notification that says somebody is willing to pay $140 for this product. Do you want to be the first to accept? And so if you're willing to sell it for $140, you just hit accept and you get that sale. They never even went to your listing page.
Paid.
Yep, and they never even went to your listing page, but you got that sale because there was somebody that was willing to pay that much, and you were the first to accept it.
And you matched what they were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. But it gets even better, guys. It gets even better.
This is one I love.
It gets even better. So let's say this person says, I'm willing to pay $140 for this GoPro 4. And let's say every single current seller out there is not interested in a $140 offer, or nobody's accepted it yet, right? So now I come along and I have a GoPro 4 and I go to create a listing for it. I start typing in my information. I say what the product is. All of a sudden, before I've even completed my listing, a thing will pop up that says, hey, we already have a buyer who will buy this from you right now for $140. Do you want to accept that? And you can say yes. And you have already sold that camera for $140 before you've even completed your listing. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, I'm blown away by that. You may have something that someone has on their watch list with an X number that they've got out there looking for something, and I can't even, it's going to be, that clearly will be only for people selling new products. So there's no other way that that's going to work. It's not going to work for used things.
It can work for used if it's electronics and stuff like that.
Okay.
If it has a specific
Right.
SKU or
Great
a specific
for hard
model
goods.
number.
Yes, Allison. Great for hard
Yeah.
goods.
And so Wayne says that he thinks it's a bad thing. You can see Nike stepping in, can sell their items at just above cost to ensure their product gets into the customer. Yeah, but they can do that right now. There's no reason
They've
why
always been able to do that, Wayne, because they have far better technology than any of us do. If they wanted to do that, they could have been doing that all along.
They could just duplicate every single listing that's out there.
I don't
that's
think it's
not
pushing
theirs.
out the smaller sellers, because we're all smaller sellers. At least all of us that are here at Open and all of us that are talking right now. I don't think that's the case. I mean, for me, it's personally not going to do a heck of a lot. You know, on my hard goods, yes. On something used, yes. I don't sell new items. I don't sell repeatable items. I don't sell, maybe 5% of my items even have a SKU or a model number. So this particular thing doesn't necessarily affect me greatly, but I still thought it was super freaking exciting.
Yeah.
And I think for that occasional thing, that time that it will affect me, great. I think hard goods sellers are going to have a fantastic opportunity with this, especially the being able to, somebody sending out an offer. Hey, this is what I want. Will you sell it to me for this? How do you know that you're not going to have, you know, maybe you're having a bad week. Maybe you're able to pick something up for $3, fast for 75, but everyone else is selling it for 150. Hey, they don't have to search for your listing now. They don't have to send a best offer and wait if you're 48 hours if they're going to come back. That's important too.
Yeah. Desiree wants to know, will it be competition to see who can get the offer first? I mean, I'm sure, I don't know exactly how it will play out.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really get into it like that, but my assumption is that if someone accepts the offer, then it immediately goes away. There's no other way to, like, you can only, there's only one person that can accept it.
And I don't know, like, how it would work, like, because you know how you can set your best offer to automatically accept any amounts above a certain amount. So who knows? I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I do think it gives better opportunities to sellers who maybe are worried about the whole product-based pages. But here's another thing, guys. You got to think about this also from the buyer perspective. Like, can you imagine going, like, let's say I've been wanting to get a GoPro forever, and I just haven't, you know, I haven't wanted to pay whatever price was out there. And let's say I decided, let's say it never sold for under $140. But I was like, you know what? I can't spend that much. But if I could ever get a new one for $120, I'd be down with that. So you would go in, you make your offer. There's nobody who's taking it at that point. But a week from now, a seller starts to list, and then they see, oh, I can get 120 for this. Bam, you get your item for exactly the price that you want it for. I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
And you don't have to look and scroll every couple of days for something. I think that as a buyer is great.
Right. And I think, sorry guys, Victoria 2.0 is at home. She's pretty heavy. I couldn't bring her all the way to the hotel, but
she's where she belongs.
She's where she belongs. But here's the thing, guys. The whole idea of this is that we need to make it easier, a more exciting place for people to buy, particularly millennials, particularly Generation Z that's coming up, because we need to bring them to the platform. It's really, really super important. And that's another thing they were talking about, making the buyer experience a lot better. They started a program a few months ago that they say has been going really well, where new buyers, new people that sign up, they're getting like, what was it, like $15 off their first $24 or $25 purchase. And then they're sending out emails to them saying, give $10, get $10. And so basically they're sending out to these buyers where if they can get somebody else to come to the platform and buy something, their friend gets $10 off, and then they get $10 off, and they can do that 10 times and get $100. And so they're doing all this stuff.
How many times do you sign up for a new item, or you go on a new website to purchase something and you get some type of code like that, right?
Yeah.
$10 off your first order, $15 off your first order. Well, eBay is sending that out to new buyers, which is bringing new buyers to the platform, which is what we want. We want new buyers. Yeah. At least 1 hour of the 3-hour conversation that we had last night with that poor woman from eBay was us drilling her about how eBay is a bit of a dinosaur in categories, and we really need to capture that millennial buyer and that millennial seller in the way that they've been saying they wanted to do for a few years, but they haven't quite caught up to technology yet. And we all know this. It's a realistic thing. I think they know as well. So I think it's really, I'm really excited that they're starting to get on board with some stuff that I think will bring millennials to the site. That's what we need. eBay is not just the site for grandmas that collect teapots anymore. Yeah. And that's how it's viewed by the younger generations. And that is what it was. And that is what it started at. And that's okay. And it still has a wonderful place in the current world for those transactions as well. But we want to be more. Yeah. We don't want to be Amazon, but we don't want to be just the old lady teapot sellers either. There's got to be a happy balance where we can capture some of that 60 million revenue from the millennials because
So
we're getting such
much.
a small percentage of that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of that. 60
Yeah.
million, 600 million.
I don't know.
I don't know. It was
Get your phone out. And
I
look at
know.
your-
I didn't take pictures of the screen. Sorry.
Anyway, and so then going on to like customer service stuff. So concierge that we've talked about, we've been invited to do another year of concierge. So concierge is the really elite customer service program that they have. They have, you know, everybody that was here at Open last year got into it. Last year, it's like they had only had 50,000 people that were participating. Now they're over 1 million people are participating between buyers and sellers. And so concierge, it's
I
like,
didn't know there's a buyer concierge until she said that today. I thought
yeah.
that was the coolest
And so basically with concierge, like when we call, because we have concierge, the longest I've ever had to wait to talk to a real person, it has been 8 minutes. Everyone that we talk to is US based, has been working for eBay for multiple years and knows
They're like
exactly what they're talking
multi-level
about.
up. You're not talking to the person that's like, I don't know what that
Yeah.
means. Let me get your next.
Each person, when they answer your call, they are responsible for resolving it. So they can't just hand you off to somebody else. Now, sometimes they will bring somebody else in to help.
Or they will ask to call
resolve
you
the
back if
situation.
it's something they need to look into further.
So it's really cool. But here's so they're going to continue that, and they say they're going to make that program even better, and they're going to continue expanding it. But here's another piece that I thought was really exciting. Let me ask you this. How many of you guys have ever had somebody go to buy from you, and then you get a message saying like, hey, I'm trying to check out, I'm trying to buy this thing, but it's not letting me pay. And like, I've had this happen a few times, and it's like, the only thing I can say when that happens is I'm like, I don't know what the problem is, but you need to call. I'm like, you need to call eBay. And then you're sitting there going like maybe it's like $100 item. And you're like, oh, I hope that they're willing to call because I want to sell this item. Well, now one of the things they're doing for buyers is rather than waiting till like after the whole payment process is over or whatever, when you go to the payment page, when you're checking out, the place where you check out, if you're having a problem, off to the side, and you've probably seen this on other websites before, there'll be like a little chat window and it'll say like, hey, hello, how can I help you today? So automatically on that payment page, there's this little chat window and there's somebody live waiting to help you. And so let's say you're trying to check out and you're getting an error, it's not going through, rather than having to call eBay or having to like, you know, the buyer having to message the seller and be like, what's wrong and having to wait, they immediately can start chatting and saying like, hey, I'm having a problem. It won't take my credit card. It won't, or it's, you know, getting some sort of error. So they're going to get that help like immediately without having to wait.
Because how many people hate calling customer service anywhere when you have a problem? I much prefer to use a chat feature. I don't care if I'm having an issue with my bank or I'm having an issue with my Sirius radio I had to call. It's a pain in the ass to get on the phone and call people. So I would, you know, especially because I hate being on the phone. So I don't mind talking to people clearly, but I hate being on the phone. So I love when there's a chat feature. And if you can do that when you're in the middle of a transaction, you're getting a person and it's live. I mean, yeah, that's pretty great. It's a pretty long, yes, it is way overdue with that. I agree, Allison. I think that's something that should have had for a while.
Yeah, it's the way I describe like the whole concierge thing and the stuff is I feel like it's a step back in the right direction, because you think about like it's 2018, everything's about technology, everything's about artificial intelligence, using using like the automated phone trees, all this stuff. And they actually, starting last year with concierge, they were like, hey, no, let's step back and let's provide more support with people who know what they're doing.
Real customer service, personalized customer service.
Yes, they're relying less on outsourcing because they know that that's been a big problem in the past, outsourcing particularly to other countries. In the last 18 months, eBay has brought in 1,000 new customer service people, US based. I think they said 32 states.
32 different states, because that means that there are customer service representatives in your area. A lot of people do customer service IT based out of their homes, a lot of home workers. Obviously, there are not 32 eBay offices in the United States. Yeah. So I think this is great. I think that, Wendy, who heads up our customer service department, stood on the stage at eBay Open last year, and she basically said, we suck.
Yeah,
we suck. And I am here from the top to apologize. And I'm going to let you know that we're going to work on this and we're going to make it better. And we're going to work on our customer service, because we know how bad it is. Yes. We know how bad it has been, and we know it can be better, and we're going to be better. She handed out her personal email address and her personal cell phone number last year and said, we're going to make this happen. And I'm going to tell you, I know that I've seen a huge difference. Of course, I'm fortunate.
100%, 100%. She was telling the truth. That was not, sometimes you're like, okay, they're just blowing smoke up our asses, and it's like, but she was telling the truth, because I'm telling you, concierge, like I said, it was like 50,000 people at that time. Now it's over 1 million. They have data that shows that for buyers experiencing the concierge customer service, they have been 2 times more satisfied with the service. But sellers have been 3 times more satisfied. And I will say, I guarantee that is the truth, because I would say I'm 10 times more satisfied, because it is.
Someone said that if they had known that concierge was going to be a perk of coming this year, they would have registered even though they couldn't come. I'm with you. I don't want them to know that I would pay for the service, because don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that they're giving it to us gratis as part of the registration the past 2 years. But if this does become or would become a paid service, I would absolutely subscribe.
Yeah.
Concierge service has been invaluable in several instances. And I am someone that I would have told you 2 years ago, you have a problem with eBay, figure it out. Don't call. It's not worth it. Don't ever call customer service. Forget it. They suck.
Here's the thing. And this is before I even started selling on eBay. I come from a nonprofit background, but a professional background, and dealing with different people, and also customer service. Back in the day, I did retail. And I have always said that when things go right, people don't really remember it necessarily.
Right.
But when something goes wrong, whether it's in just the real world or in retail or whatever, when something goes wrong, how that issue is handled is going to determine how that person views the company. So when I buy something from a website, and let's say they make a mistake, like I used to, if I ordered something from a website and they send me the wrong thing, right? That's a hassle. Now I got to wait for them to reship and everything. If I call them up, or if I send them a message and I'm like, hey, you sent me the wrong thing. I ordered blah, 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 and that's not what I got. What do I do? If they turn around, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. We sent out the wrong thing. We're going to go ahead and send you more for free, blah, blah, blah. However they handle it, that is more likely to make you a loyal customer than if the transaction had gone smoothly in the first place. So it's all about how you handle the mistakes, how you handle the issues. So when
customer service and perception are everything.
So the fact that they are putting a lot of resources and time into really improving customer service and improving that experience for the buyers and for the sellers, because we're their customers too, right? It is creating better customer satisfaction and more likelihood that they're going to come back, because it's all about trust, right? It's all about making sure that our buyers can trust that even though something is going to go wrong sometimes, at least they know it's going to be taken care of and it's not going to be a huge hassle.
Right. That's part about the buyer. That's part of buyer protection. And again, free returns. As much as I'm not a huge fan of the free returns, that is what the buyers want. And that is what research says that buyers want. And it is what will make them buy and make them keep coming back, along with a lot of the other things. So, it's important to make sure that your customers feel secure in the transaction. And customer service and how they're handling issues for both us and for the buyers. And a lot of times they're settling something and they're just taking care of the buyer and they're not making us do it. That makes a big difference. It makes the buyers happy, we're happy. And
another thing that Wendy Jones said, here's an issue that she brought up herself, and it's not fixed yet, but she said, like, basically kind of like how she said last year, it sucks. She was like, currently, let's say Victoria ships out that GoPro 4. She sends it. She does everything that she's supposed to do. She does it in time, sends the product. It shows up. It shows delivered. And then the customer says, I never received it. Like, I didn't get it. I have not received, whether it got stolen off their front porch or whatever. They don't receive it. The way it currently works is that customer goes and opens an item not received case. And basically eBay says to the seller, like, hey, you got 3 days to figure this out. And what she basically said was, like, it's not good that it's like that, because you did everything you were supposed to, and now we're telling you to figure it out. Now, of course, you just go and you upload your tracking, and then you got to call and let them know, like, hey, I did deliver this. And here's the tracking number. But here's the thing: they have that tracking number, so they know that it was delivered. So why is there even that extra step? And so she was basically saying, like, it's not really acceptable that it works that way right now, and we know that it's not a good way of doing it, but we're working on it and we're going to fix that. So I don't know it.
AK2 Red, Alaska. We also have Big Thrift in the chat that's also from Alaska. I would definitely maybe ask her some questions. Her name's Allison. Ask some questions back and forth, because since you're both in Alaska, you may have some, she's a very, very knowledgeable seller.
Mhm.
She may have some answers for you that are Alaska specific, because I certainly don't have any for you.
Right. Absolutely. So I was sitting between Vicky and Teresa, and there were like a couple of different announcements where Teresa's right here, and she goes, it was like just ridiculous.
I did the same thing, but I was quieter.
Nope, hold on. So she did a little gasp, because Teresa, she's a big eBay fan, and so she's just excited about anything that they do at all. So
That's true.
so she has like a lower threshold for like what is gasp worthy. But then they made an announcement. What's his name? The guy, the tech guy that Mohan. So he's the one that kind of shows us like the really cool features, like the different things, like that whole best offer on the product based best offer. Well, he announced something that they haven't done it yet, but it's coming up. And not only did it make Teresa gasp ridiculously loudly, it made this one. She seriously, first Teresa gasped, and then she was like, and I was just like laughing so hard, because I'm like, I don't know what is happening. We've got some serious, do I need to get you some water? Should I like fan you? Like, I don't know what is happening right now. Anyway, why don't you tell them what they're going to be working on?
Oh yeah. So they did say actually will not be out for Q4. It's going to be out in first quarter next year.
No. He's gonna start working on it Q1.
No, he said, I guarantee you it will be ready for Q1. We're working on it now. It's not going to be ready for fourth quarter.
All right. I thought that like he's saying quarter one, right?
January.
They're gonna start working hard on it.
No.
I don't know. We might need to verify that. But anyway, continue.
All right. Whatever. It's coming out not by the end of this year, but they are working on it, and they think it'll be ready by I think he said January.
I think he said he's gonna be working on
it. Whatever. It'll be out. So what they're going to be creating in Seller Hub, they are creating something that we've been asking for years. Years. It may not be perfect. It may, and he did say this, it may not be perfect. It may not have all of the features that everybody wants, but they are going to try to get this started.
Are you ready? Are you guys ready for this?
They are going to have multiple user control accounts through eBay.
A back office, guys. A back office.
So that you can give passwords and codes to virtual assistants, to in-person assistants. Sometimes, right now, there is no way to do that. Right now, you either have to use a third-party lister, or you have to entrust someone with all of your personal information.
Including like the PayPal email that you use to receive all your payments and stuff like that.
Which is true.
So you really have to trust.
You're putting your business and your trust in someone's hands, unless you're using a third-party lister. So right now, you'll be able to give them limited access, limited control. Maybe they'll just be able to do drafts. Maybe they won't be able to touch existing listings. Maybe they will never have any access to pricing, or I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but you're going to be able to set the parameters and controls.
Yep.
And I believe he said up to 8.
Yeah.
I heard the word 8 in there.
He didn't give us an exact time, but he promised that he promised he's working on it.
Making it happen. Not that we're going to try to make it happen. It is he said it last year when he promised something, and it came true. He said, my promise to you is that this will happen.
Yeah.
So this is something that people have been looking for a long time. Not everybody has somebody as wonderful as my Dana that I love. Dana has had full access to everything I have except my PayPal password, I think. And she even knows where to find that. So she has had full access to everything for almost 2 years. And she was my acquaintance that was barely a friend when she first started working for me. Now I consider her a very dear friend.
Yeah.
But I had to have complete trust in her. She could have ruined me.
Right.
Not that she would.
No.
But giving someone that much control over your business that is an employee is frightening for anyone. And that's why people go and pay to use third-party listers, and that might not be exactly what they want. But anyway, I'm really excited that this is going to be happening. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for people to use virtual listers for lots of different items. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
for
psyched.
Sure. Absolutely. So let's see. So that's like super exciting, especially, obviously some people maybe have no intention of ever hiring anybody, but it gives you that opportunity.
Do page picker, quick switch feature on the app to switch between multiple accounts. That was not addressed in any way. So no. I don't know about
No.
a specific question like that.
Here is another really cool feature that's going to be coming out soon. So let's go to auto listings. Okay, that auto is in automobiles, so motors, eBay Motors.
eBay Motors.
So I personally am somebody who is a DIYer, do-it-yourselfer. I've changed brake pads on my car before. I've done my own oil change. I'll go and watch a YouTube video that tells me how to do it, and somehow I've managed to not kill myself yet. Or if a little piece gets broken, whatever, right? So, but I don't have a lot of actual knowledge when it comes to cars. It's more of like I'm going to figure it out kind of thing. And so
Google and YouTube.
So what they're coming up with is a diagram-based shopping experience. So let's say you go to eBay Motors, and I tell them that we have a Nissan Pathfinder, was it 2017 Nissan Pathfinder. And so you put that in there. And so then eBay Motors knows that's your car. So anything you look for, if you're looking for an oil filter, if you're looking for a replacement headlight, anything, they already know what car is yours, right? So let's say there's something not working on one of your headlights or whatever. You are looking at a diagram of your vehicle.
Like a black and white diagram, like a drawing, like a CAD drawing.
Yeah. And then you're going to narrow it down. You're going to say that it's like, it's a light bulb issue or something like that. And it's going to take you to that part of it. And then you're going to be able to zoom in and get close and see all the components. Like maybe there's the bulb, there's the thing that the bulb plugs into, and here's the wire that goes to here. And you may not know the name of the piece. Like let's say your bulb was out. You go open it up, you pull the bulb out, and you realize that the piece that the bulb plugs into is cracked and it's broken. You're like, oh, some connection isn't working there.
Right. And
but you can tell.
But who knows what that thing is called?
Exactly. But you can tell that this piece is broken, and it looks like, if you had another identical one like it, you could easily replace it. You just don't know what it's called or how to Google it. And so you're looking at this diagram and you see the piece.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. Bro science. I need a new flux capacitor.
Okay. So you see the diagram and you zoom in, and it's, they're all numbered, and you click on that thing and it says, oh, flux capacitor. And so you click on that and it automatically opens up to the listings for that item. And then you go ahead and you order it, and you're going to get the right piece for the right car, and you can go ahead and make that fix yourself. So
yeah, right. So for that for me, and it's only for eBay Motors. That's what he talked about, but that doesn't mean that it won't be for other things.
Yeah. I don't know what else it would be for.
I think hardware,
anything that has parts.
Anything that's like a deal. Yes. A thingy or a widget. That's exactly it. Yes. That's what that whatchamacallit that goes in the who's what's it. And the, all the things that my mom used to use, all those words when she couldn't remember things like are the kids' names in a row. But yeah, that's really good for somebody like me. And I hate to dumb it down like I'm the dumb girl, but honestly, when it comes to automobiles, I am the dumb girl. Yeah. And I don't like to be the person that sounds like the dumb girl, especially with something cheap and easy that you can fix yourself, like a bulb or something like that. And it takes me 25 minutes to figure out what it is, where it goes. How do I figure out what it's called? Where do I find this little 99-cent part? Yeah. Instead of taking it to your mechanic that's going to charge you $150 an hour to replace a bulb. It's kind of good.
Right. Okay, so Armando says, please help. I sold something on June 13th. It was a holder for an iPad. The person is now saying that it keeps falling over. I have free 30-day returns. How would you guys handle this? Okay, well, here's the thing. This is where customer service comes into it. Now, a holder for an iPad, I'm guessing that wasn't very expensive. How much was it, Armando? Because, yes, technically it's over 30 days. I believe you could, just say basically tough, whatever. But honestly, for me, if it's not a very expensive
it's actually 30 days from the date of delivery, not from the date of purchase.
But still, today's the 25th.
So I get it. So I'm sure it was delivered.
It's probably been more than 30 days.
Yeah.
Something like that. If it's not like a super expensive $25, I would still let them return it, or I would be like, either give a partial refund or just refund it altogether. I don't know. It's a bummer, but
like Allison said, my opinion, send a label, take the return, move on.
Yeah.
I will tell you, nobody likes doing returns, but standing on principle and wasting your time and effort and stress and energy over anything for $25 is probably not worth it.
Yeah.
And I know that $25 is not a lot of money to many people, but it is a lot of money to some people. So believe me, I understand that. I'm not saying that it's not a significant amount of money. It may be a significant amount of money to you. It can be to a lot of people. But honestly, the fact that you're stressing over it, which if you typed out that whole paragraph means you are at least a little bit, it's better to just let it go and move on.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you're providing excellent customer service that way, because maybe they know, like here's the thing, you could even message them and say, hey, I have free 30-day returns. I see this is over the 30 days, but I really, I feel terrible.
Make an exception.
Or be like, I feel really terrible that the product wasn't what you were expecting. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and accept this return, blah, blah, blah.
If you think you can resell it, take the return and send a label.
Yeah,
if you don't think you can resell it, weigh the odds. Is it cheaper to just give the refund and say forget it and keep it?
Whatever, but just let them know like that you are basically making an exception for them in a really kind way. And then for them, it's going to be an excellent experience. And the key part to this is that they're going to come back again, and maybe they won't buy from you next time. They're going to buy from somebody else. Whereas on the opposite side, if they have a terrible experience, and there's some sellers out there who are really rude to people who
and they
try to return something.
And if they try to open up a case or something with eBay or with PayPal, they may or may not win depending on how they work it, if they know how to work it properly. So honestly, I would just suck it up and take it. And it does not mean that I don't get ticked off about crappy returns too at times. I will say I had one this week. I sold, I'll tell you what it is. I sold a used hair dryer. It was a vintage hair dryer. I sold it for $35, free shipping, big deal, whatever. Got there over a month ago. Customer opened up a return because they found one cheaper elsewhere.
Yep.
Sent it back. And because I do free returns, I had to pay to take it back.
I did a refund today because I sold a vest to a guy in India, and he says he never got it, and there's no delivery confirmation. So according to the tracking number, it got to Indian post office, whatever there, and then that's it. And the last update was like a month ago. So there's nothing I can do about it. And the cost, what they paid and their shipping together was $55. And there was nothing I can do about it. And had I sold it through GSP, it wouldn't have been my problem to deal with. eBay would have refunded them. It wouldn't have come out of my pocket. But let me tell you, I went ahead. It was painful. I gave them back the $55. There's nothing I can do about it. But you know what? 20% of my sales over the last year were international. And that kind of stuff happens every now and then. And I'm just out the $55. And that's okay, because I know that I'm going to make more sales internationally. So you just got to try not to focus on it from a transactional level, and just kind of see the big picture.
Look at it overall. Yeah, you're going to have some shrinkage. You're going to have some loss. There are going to be some times where you're going to have to accept a return, or something's going to get lost. And you just have to understand that that's a cost of doing business. And there's a certain percentage, and every business has a certain percentage of shrinkage.
Yeah.
If you look at this as a business, that's what you have to factor in for.
Yep.
Whether it's a small business or big business or a medium business, it's a business in some way.
Yeah. So Kathy says, Katie, did you look it up on the other site that shows international tracking? Yeah, I used like the 17track.net. Yes, I used that. No go. I even went to the website for the post office there in India. No go, because sometimes you can find that information on there. Like if you ever have something that doesn't show delivered in the UK, you can actually go to the Royal Mail, and a lot of times it'll show whether or not it was delivered.
France is another one that's easy to look up online.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, so we don't have any moderators in the chat right now, so excuse us while we try to get rid of some haters.
So anybody else have any other questions before we go off at this point?
Did we have anything else to talk about?
Oh, this computer's so slow. Let me look at the thing. Let me look at my list. Let me look at my list, guys.
111 people watching live right now. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I don't know why this computer is real slow though. So now I'm
sorry, guys.
Anyway. So let's see. I do have my little list. I made little notes so that I can say stuff. But hey, you guys, before we go off, if you guys have any questions right now about that you would like us to ask any eBay execs here, we're going to be here for a couple more days, and we have their ear. We can approach anybody.
Right. We had
Bob Cuppins is
conversation with Bob. We've been talking to Brian several times a day, and we have direct access to pretty much everybody except Devin. Devin's kind of in and out, so any of that kind of thing. So we'll if you have something specific you'd like to ask, let us know. Shoot us a message through YouTube. Shoot Katie a message. Her email's down below.
Yep.
And we'll do our best to get your question answered. We probably can't ask 45 questions, but we'll ask a couple.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so it's after 3:00. We got other stuff that we got to do, but seriously,
we got to go watch Miss Teresa do a presentation for 3:15. So I'm hoping we can get there right there.
But yeah. Anyway, so guys, send me a message. You can hit me up on Facebook or on Instagram, or either one of us on Instagram. If there's anything that you really want us to ask any of the execs, we will totally ask them. I will show them your message and be like, Bob Cuppins, you tell me the answer to this question right now.
Not specific to your user ID necessarily, but overall eBay question. I was going to say vent hole ventilation with a grommet, just like Allison said to that armpit holes and question.
Yeah. So if you have any legit questions, send them to us. I'll even ask them, I'll ask them on camera if I can. Otherwise, I'll get it back to you guys. So please.
We've got to go walk 4.5 miles to get to from the hotel to the convention center to the room that Teresa is doing her presentation in about 15 minutes. We're going to do our best.
Yep. So thank you guys so much. If you're not in the Boss Facebook group, you should be. If you're not subscribed to me and you enjoyed the video, then I guess you should be. So whatever.
Yeah. Hey, thumbs up if you want. Thumbs down. A couple you already did.
Yep.
What
Peace out, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye.
We're getting back to it. Boss up.